Hello dear students. Today we will start the next unit of plant physiology. We will study various aspects of plant biochemistry. To begin with, we will start with the most amazing process in plant world, because of which the life is continuing on earth, and the every organism directly or indirectly is related to that process. You must have guessed it right, and that process is the process of photosynthesis. This photosynthesis in higher plants, we will study about the various aspects. It is chapter number 13 of your textbook. So, in this chapter, we will be studying about the various aspects of photosynthesis. In today's lecture, I will be focusing only on early experiments which were performed on photosynthesis. A series of experiments were performed by various scientists. Only a specific part was focused. And later on, all these experiments were compiled together and understanding of this process could be made. So, let us study some of the remarkable landmark experiments in the field of photosynthesis. Before going into the experiment, let us study the introduction of photosynthesis. So, photosynthesis, as you know, it is an enzyme regulated anabolic process. Enzyme regulated anabolic processes. This is not one-step reaction, but ultimately all these reactions are resulting in the formation of a bigger molecule. Here the smaller molecules, that is carbon dioxide and water, they are combined together to produce a bigger molecule in the form of organic compound, that is sugar, glucose. And because of which this becomes the primary source of food for all other living organisms. Also, this process of photosynthesis is responsible for the evolution of oxygen as well. Okay, so this is the introduction, and this process takes place only in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. So we will be studying about the various details of the whole physiology of this experiment. But let us see what all experiments were done from time to time. So the early experiments include, first was the Joseph Priestley's experiment. That is a famous bell jar experiment. In this experiment, what did he do? He took a bell jar and kept a burning candle in it. And along with the burning candle, he used a living mice. Let's see that. Here, in first place, he used only a living mice along with a burning candle. He observed that after some time, this burning candle is extinguished. And after some time, even the mice dies. So he concluded that the burning of candle is polluting the air. The air quality has become very low, and because of that foul air, the mice would not survive here. Later on, he kept one mint plant also, along with the mice and the burning candle. And to his surprise, that even after a very long time, the burning candle was kept on burning and mice also survived, along with the mint plant, which also kept on living. So he concluded that this living plant is responsible for restoring the air quality, where whatever breathing animal and burning candle removes from it. He did not know how it does, but he could find out that this mint plant has improved the air quality. So this was the pioneering experiment. It is called very famous Joseph Priestley's bell jar experiment. After that, many other experiments were also done. A very notable experiment is the experiment which is done by Jan Ingenhousz. This Jan Ingenhousz, his experiment, he performed this experiment between 1730 to 1799. This is his time period. No, this is the time period when he lived. So he experimented that the green plants, they are doing some processes because of which the air quality is increasing. And he performed an experiment where he took an aquatic plant, Hydrata. He kept this plant in a funnel, in a beaker filled with water, and kept an inverted test tube, and he noticed that the bubbles are coming out, and these bubbles are coming out only when this setup is kept under the sun. In dark, these bubbles are not coming out, and these bubbles are coming out from that green plant only. So he concluded that the green plants under the sun, they perform some processes in which oxygen is the product. So this is his next experiment, that is Jan Ingenhousz bubbling experiment. This is also, so the conclusion was that these bubbles to be of oxygen. Hence he showed that it is only the green plants that could release the oxygen. So next was in 1854, Julius von Sachs. He performed an experiment. He proved that plants produce glucose while growing and stores them as starch. He explained that plants have green substances which is present within a cell, and it is present in the specialized bodies. Today we know these bodies are nothing but chloroplast. He found that green parts in the plant is where the glucose is made. So whatever photosynthesis which we know actually is taking place inside these granules, which are today we know they are chloroplast, and that the glucose is usually stored as starch. And later on, P.W. Engelmann, he gave an experiment. He split the light. We know light is a spectrum made up of different wavelengths of light. That is Vibgyor: violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. And he used the green algae Cladophora, and he placed it in a suspension of aerobic bacteria. And bacteria, because aerobic bacteria live only in oxygen, and bacteria were used to detect the sight of oxygen. Okay, so he observed that bacteria accumulated mainly in the region of blue and red. This means the oxygen production is more in these two areas of the split spectrum. And he explained about the absorption spectra of chlorophyll A and B. So this was a very path-breaking experiment where he could target that at specific wavelength only the process of photosynthesis is taking place. So this experiment is again a very path-breaking experiment which basically helped in identifying absorption spectrum and action spectrum. Later on we will study wherever the light is absorbed, that is the absorption spectrum, and wherever the production takes place of oxygen, that is an action spectrum. So this was this experiment. T.W. Engelmann experiment. Very famous experiment. Next, the key features of photosynthesis was first explained in 19th century, and which states that plant could use light energy to make carbohydrate from carbon dioxide and water. So this carbon dioxide and water, they combine only in presence of light energy to produce the carbohydrate. Okay. And the empirical equation represented the total process of photosynthesis for oxygen evolving organism was then understood as this experiment, this equation, where CHO represents the carbohydrate. This was also a very path-breaking experiment which gave the overall equation for a very complex process. Okay. Then came the Cornelius Van Meel. He did the experiment with purple and green bacteria and demonstrated photosynthesis is a light-dependent process. He explained that hydrogen from H2O reduces carbon dioxide to carbohydrate. And he concluded that oxygen comes from H2O, not from carbon dioxide. Finally, he corrected the equation. He corrected the equation for the photosynthesis as this one. He gave the overall balanced equation where 6 molecules of carbon dioxide react with 12 molecules of water, and they are responsible for the formation of 1 molecule of glucose, 6 molecules of water are released, and 6 molecules of oxygen are also released. So this was a path-breaking equation which was given by Cornelius Van Meel. So you must know the balanced equation for photosynthesis. Okay. So these were few early experiments. Later on, the site for photosynthesis was found out, and today we know the green plants, green parts are the main site for photosynthesis, and green parts are mainly the leaf. Okay, in the leaf there are mesophyll cells, and mesophyll cells have got chloroplast, and these chloroplasts are the actual sites for the photosynthesis. So let's see. This is the structure of chloroplast. This is a very important diagram. You must have done in lower classes also. So when you talk about this diagram, this is a diagram of chloroplast, where you can see chloroplast is a double layered structure. In previous unit we studied about the details of the chloroplast. We know there are outer membrane and inner membranes, double membraned organelle. Then there is the matrix. The matrix is called as stroma. And in this stroma, there are, you can see, the thylakoids. These thylakoids are stacked in the form of grana. And different grana are held together by stroma lamellae. This is one granum, this is another granum, and this connecting link, that is threads. These threads are the stroma lamellae, and they are responsible for the formation of starch granules after the process of photosynthesis. So this structure we have already studied. So in today's lecture, we have studied mainly the historical initial experiments in the process of photosynthesis. These experiments will study more in detail some of the experiments like absorption spectrum, action spectrum, and the equations. Okay, and this diagram is very important. I hope you have understood today's lecture. Go through these experiments because many questions are asked based on this experiment, and in next lecture we will take up the actual process of photosynthesis in detail. Okay, thank you.